So I think one of the great ways to help kind of build a community is through recognition, recognizing the work that's being done within your community. And that's exactly what Heather Doughty is doing with Inspire, the Women's Portrait Project, where she celebrates and acknowledges the work being done by women in the city of Peterborough.
So we have the Canoe Museum, we have the lift walk. I think the lift walk is there. Every year I try and do something to improve my photography. And this year I wanted to improve how I tell a story through my lens. That was the major thing. Rather than just taking a picture, I want to tell people's story. So I was like, portraits are one of the best ways to tell a person's story, just through their face. And I'm kind of half discussing this with my daughter over breakfast. She's not listening 95%, 5% enough to throw out a, "That's not gonna work, Mom." Right? So as I'm saying this kind of blah, 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 and she's like, "Well, who are you gonna take pictures of?" And that's when I kind of stalled. I was like, "Well, who do I go take pictures of?" She's like, "Well, you can't walk up to people on the street. You can't do that anymore. You're gonna get hurt." And I was like, "You're true, right?" So I said, women. And she's like, "Well, how are you going to find these women?" So I thought, I am going to, this is progressing over an hour's conversation. I'm going to pick some, and I'm going to get them to pick women that inspire them. And keep in mind that the Inspire project was just this little project. It was just going to like go along, da-da-da. So I came up with 3 women that really inspired me. And from there, we have probably 200 nominations. The first woman I reached out to is Susan Porter Dunkley. She's an amazing woman. She does a lot for the community. And I also wanted women, although there's a lot of women in the limelight, and they're justly deserve to be in the limelight. But there's a lot of women who aren't, and do an awful lot for their community. And Susan is known, but she's not 110% always out there. And she inspires me with all that she does for the community. So I reached out to her, and she was like, wow. And it's just been, whew! I nominated the initial 3, and then each woman that is nominated can nominate 2 women, or the community can go on the webpage. So you could go on the webpage and nominate somebody.
You.
No. It's almost like there's groups of women, so one woman in a circle gets nominated and she nominates some, but then somebody here will nominate from another circle. So it's really, there's such a diverse range of women in ages. We have a little 8-year-old girl, yeah, we have an 88-year-old great-grandmother, and everywhere in between. It's just amazing. Peterborough is a very giving community to begin with. It's a very supportive community. Lots of people do a lot in the community, but this really brings together all the different groups, all the different segments. And so maybe there's somebody in this group over here didn't realize that this person over here, and because they're both been nominated, they now have this community. So there's this diverse community, different ages, different nationalities, different social places. It's a real, true, honest community. There's no standard for perfect. It doesn't matter if you think you need to lose 20 pounds. You're beautiful, because all women are beautiful. And the things that they do, they should be celebrated for it. So it's not really a political statement per se. It's more a empowering, positive project than it is the political side. That's perfect, yeah. Somebody has nominated them, they get an email, and the first reaction is, oh, wow, no. But then they have to come up with a bio, and they have to come up with 3 words that best describe them. So some women put that out to, like, they'll segregate it. So they'll ask for friends for 1 word, family for another word, co-workers for another. They'll post it on social media. And I think when they do that, they get this real reaction of like, oh, you're powerful or you're, you know, uplifting. And it's sort of this whole, I didn't realize that all these people thought this of me, right? You just kind of go do your day. I would love to take this nationally. Yes. Like I was saying, wouldn't it be cool to go to Fort Mac, have the community of Fort Mac nominate women, 25 women, and go there and meet the women who had to leave, or even the women who fought the fires, or were the EMTs or whatever, and hear their stories and take their pictures. Because once again, you had to leave and then you came back and there's nothing. There's just this cement square where your house was, or you were fighting a fire you knew you couldn't stop, right? To hear these stories, or Nunavut, a community in Nunavut. Like, can you imagine meeting those women and hearing their stories and bring them back? Eventually, as you travel, you can bring the women from the different communities with you. So if you went to Fort Mac and then to Nunavut, you could take Peterborough to Fort Mac, and then Fort Mac and Peterborough could go to Nunavut, and then they can come. So it's not only just Peterborough's community, you're now connecting the women in Canada together, and it's making a whole community to itself. Cheesy, right?